Hi there, Carlos here from Life in Silver. This week's post in the blog Life in Silver, I talk about a little bit of the considerations you should have when you try to assemble a darkroom. In this case, I'm going to show you what are the main things that you at least need to run a darkroom in your house, because it's not just having the room, you have to need some other stuff like bottles, thermometers, and some stuff I'm going to show you right next. So let's keep going. Okay, as mentioned before, if you only want to do some developing, well, at least you have to buy the tanks. But to develop film, we have to prepare some chemicals. So to do that, we need to buy measuring glasses, which, well, in my case, I use international system. If you live in the US and you want to use imperial system, you are also are able to do it. Many Kodak chemicals are given in both international and US system, but for example, IR4 gives everything on international system. We're also going to be needing a measuring pipe like this one for small volumes of chemicals. And to store them, we are going to be needing some bottles. These bottles are found in drugstores, or well, medical supply stores more precisely. Not any drugstore will sell you bottles like this one. The best option are, well, the ones that don't let pass light through it, or this amber light. If you are lucky enough, in the case you have a photographic store supply near or something like that, you can find these accordion-like bottles that let you change the volume and let you put out air, because air is going to be the one thing that may spoil chemicals, because most of these chemicals are oxidized with oxygen. Well, oxidized with oxygen is like whatever, and most of the times these are very useful, taking the most air out of the bottle. If you don't find them, well, these are other options. There is also another option, like having a big bottle like this one. These bottles are great for preparing some chemicals that came in powder, like this one, and you don't have a measuring scale, so you can know how much powder you need to prepare, for example, a liter or something like that, and it's more easier to prepare the full package. So these bottles are great for producing great amounts of chemicals. Later on, I will explain the difference between some chemicals, and especially about developers, because it's the widest topic about chemicals. The other chemicals used in photography are kind of like universal in some kind of way. Other thing that is very important is having a clock, or well, chronometer in that case, because this clock will let us count time backwards. So depending on which film and which developer we are going to be using, the time varies. So we need to measure time, so we do the best developing time available in this case. Okay, this is a clock designed especially for darkroom, because it has two options. It has the timer, like we see now, and has a focus option. This option is made for enlargers and turning on and off the enlarger and the safe lens. Okay? There are also other kind of objects or implements that we need in photography. I'm going to talk about more especially about paper or making prints. In this case, as you can see, I have these two envelopes of paper. These are the most common sizes that you are going to be able to do in your house, or well, at least if you have enough space or room for that. So if you don't have a lot of room, maybe you are going to be using 5 by 7 inches prints. So in that case, you can find smaller trays. In this case, these trays are made especially for chemicals and to process paper. So, but if you have enough room for making larger prints, You can go for bigger trays like this one. This is like 8 by 10 tray. Sorry about the average. So depending on how big or how small is going to be your darkroom, you're going to be needing different trays. Okay. There is also another option, but this is the most modern-like, and it's more oriented to other kind of paper processing, more to color things. There exist paper developing tanks. These are tanks, well, this is the best brand, Jovo, it's German, so I think it's Jovo. These tanks are especially made to fit in papers inside. So we're going to be needing is some kind of skate or wheels that will keep the tank rotating, or will let us the tank rotate. If you don't find those wheels, you can do it by floating the tank over water. So with this tank we can make a little less space, because with the same tank we're going to process the whole thing. We do not need different trays with different chemicals to process the paper. This is also another a more economic way to process things, because, for example, the 8 by 10 tray needs 1 liter of chemical, while the tank is going to be using like 150 millimeters of chemicals. So these are two options. This, as I said before, well, it's not very traditional, and it's not oriented much like to black and white. It's more to color papers. So by far, I hope this did help you find what things you need. Well, and I also forgot you can use any kind of thing to steer the chemicals. There are photo-oriented ones, but you can use like a long straw of glass and do the same. It doesn't matter, but well, it's another option. Okay. I hope you find this useful. Next time I will going to be explaining about chemicals, more precisely about developers, and the other chemicals we're going to be using on the processes. So see you next time. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, rate, and subscribe. See you later.